Have you ever woken up from a dream feeling more tired than when you went to bed? Like you've just run a mental marathon, fought some kind of epic battle, and that feeling of exhaustion just hangs on? Well, I'm here to tell you it is not just in your head. For millions of people, it's a nightly reality, and it's rooted deep in our biology. And that feeling has a name. It's this thing called a nightmare hangover. It's that sense that before you even had a sip of coffee, your entire nervous system is just fried from all the hard work it did overnight. And with that, welcome to Sleepedia, a corner of the internet dedicated to the science of sleep and circadian rhythms. Today we're going to unpack exactly why these nightmare hangovers happen, especially for neurodivergent brains. And, more importantly, we'll get into what the latest science says we can actually do about it. Let's dive in. First off, let's just get one thing straight. This feeling isn't just you recovering from a bad dream. No, it's a physiological state. Chances are your heart was literally racing, your mind was stuck on a loop playing these terrifyingly vivid images. It's a huge sign that your brain was basically on high alert all night long. And here's the crucial piece of the puzzle. For people with neurodevelopmental conditions, think autism or ADHD, the brain processes stress during sleep through a completely different biological lens. This is why standard sleep advice so often misses the mark. Because the root of the problem isn't just about your habits, it's neurological. What is actually going on in there? Well, to get a handle on that, we need to talk about your brain's nighttime filing system and what happens when that system gets completely overwhelmed. See, this whole filing process happens during REM sleep. The best way to think about REM is like your brain's very own administrative assistant. Its main job is to take all the emotional baggage from your day, process it, and neatly file it away as memories. But, and this is key, a huge part of that job is to strip away the emotional sting from those memories first. And this slide right here visualizes the difference so well. In a neurotypical brain, you've got this tidy filing cabinet. Memories get stored, stress gets handled, everything's in its right place. But in a lot of neurodivergent brains, the whole process is fragmented. The brain is kind of flickering in and out of deep sleep. The filing gets all messy, and that sting, that fear and stress, it stays attached to the memory. This is something scientists call REM fragmentation, and believe me, it is a total game changer for understanding this. It means the brain never gets to that vital step of saying, hey, that was a stressful thing, but it's over now, we're safe. Instead, it just gets stuck in the scary part, looping all that sensory and emotional overload into a vivid, recurring nightmare. Now, let's zoom in a little further and look at this on a chemical level. Because if REM fragmentation is the what, then neurotransmitter imbalances are really the why. And honestly, it all boils down to your brain's gas and brake pedals. You see, your brain has these two key chemicals that manage its activity level. You've got glutamate, that's the gas pedal. It's excitatory. It keeps everything active and alert. And then you have GABA, that's the brake pedal. It's inhibitory, and its job is to quiet the mind and body for rest. So pretty simple, right? To sleep peacefully, you need way less gas and a whole lot of brake. The problem is, in many neurodivergent brains, that glutamate gas pedal stays pressed down, even during sleep. This leads to a state called cortical hyperarousal, which basically means your body might be lying still, but the cortex, the whole thinking, conscious part of your brain, is firing away like it's the middle of the day. And that creates the absolute perfect high-energy storm for intense, super realistic nightmares. So that's the problem. It's biological, it's chemical, and I know it's deeply frustrating. But here is the hopeful part. Because we're starting to really understand the biology, we now have new, science-backed tools to actually fix it. So let's talk about how to rewrite your dreams. First things first, we have got to recognize that sensory issues don't just magically stop when you close your eyes. The neurodivergent brain can keep processing things like sounds, temperature, or even the feeling of your sheets at a really high level. And these tiny little inputs can get braided into your dream, turning something like a slight chill in the room into a full-blown nightmare about freezing to death. So the solution here is to aim for what we call sensory neutrality. This could involve stuff like deep pressure therapy from a weighted blanket, which is actually proven to lower the stress hormone cortisol. Or maybe using pink or brown noise, which are great at masking those sudden jarring sounds and can help encourage the deep, slow-wave sleep your brain is craving.
All right, but what about those nightmares? You know, the ones that play on a loop, night after night. The same terrifying story. Well, that isn't just random bad luck. That nightmare has become a well-worn neural highway in your brain. Your brain has practiced that route so many times, it's now the default path it takes when you're asleep.
And this is where a really cool technique comes in that lets us build a new road. It's called image rehearsal therapy, or IRT. It's pretty simple. While you're awake, you write down the nightmare. You get all the details out. Then you rewrite the ending. You change it to be something neutral or maybe even positive. Then you rehearse this new version in your mind. This simple act literally builds a new neural pathway, giving your brain a different, much safer script to follow when you finally fall asleep.
So, when you put it all together, you have this really powerful toolkit. It starts with just understanding your brain's unique wiring so you can create a sensory neutral space to sleep. From there, you can use these amazing cognitive tools like IRT to rewrite the old scripts. And of course, if you need to, you can always talk to a professional about medical options that can help turn down some of that chemical noise in the brain.